Dear fellow humans, here's one of the best things that can happen to a young person curious for the world and how to live a life in it. They can find themselves here at the Berlinale. When I first came to this festival, I was 25 and looking for my life, looking for the world and signs of human life there, how I might take my place among it, on the hunt for amazement, for solidarity and connection. And I can say I found it all right here in one fell swoop, and I've never been without it since. 40 years of the comradeship and friendship of filmmakers from around the planet, the faithful community of a global cinema audience, and above all, the boundaryless possibilities of filmmaking itself and all the fun of the fair to be had there. When you honor me, you honor all the above. But I make films as a film fan, first and foremost. And here's why. Here's what never changes. And what, over the next 10 days, you will have spread before you. A feast for the heart, a tonic for the soul. The dark, the quietness, the liberty of sound, the uninterrupted voice, the open invitation to reverie, being among a whole mess of humanity and trusting that you might actually feel the same as each other for even an instant. The leap of faith, the smoke and mirrors, the beam of light. And since this matters too, the lifelong friendships struck up in juries and screenings and breakfast buffets and nightclubs and coffee queues and on-street corners, the Berlinale. And through them, the growing possibility of seeing more than one side of things, the sensation of feeling yourself change, feeling yourself challenged, tested, feeling yourself safer, braver, taking your values between finger and thumb and examining them there, recognitions and wheels turning underwater and deep bells ringing. Because there's the magic of detail suspended in space available to all humans, the miracle of timelessness available to all humans, the unbeatable beauty of the earth, the actual value of spoken language, the actual value of unspoken language, the grace and power of the unwatched face, the vulnerability and valiance of human life being lived, always and everywhere and everywhen, the downright usefulness of the wild, wide screen, and so many films. I'm so happy it's snowing today. It could be 1986. It used to snow every year here. My first Berlinale, we traipsed snow with us on our boots into the Zoopalast. Werner Schröter was showing Der Rosenkönig at the Delphi, and the Teddies were inaugurated. A wall was still up, and we used to make it our business to mission over to the east in search of rare vinyl and a wider view. But our minds were focused on that boundarylessness in here, up there. We like to think we dignified the cinema we made with our dissidence, our resistance, and our determination to find a communion to have faith in. Here's what occurred to us back then. We can do better as human beings, nothing surer. And on our way, we can do worse than foraging in the cinema, in art, for the breadcrumbs through the forest to understand exactly how. Now, as then, in a present when it has perhaps never been more pressing to consider, to weigh with reverence and maturity, what sovereignty means to humans, what history and legacy and an evolved culture might be worth to our sense of ourselves, and even what being human means and is worth at all. We can head for the great independent state of cinema and rest there, an unlimited realm, innately inclusive, immune to efforts of occupation, colonization, takeover, ownership, or the development of Riviera property. A borderless realm, and with no policy of exclusion, persecution, or deportation. No known address, no visa required. It's so very, very good for us to wonder at the world and to be surprised by admiration for each other, rather than shocked speechless by our cavalier mean-spiritedness and cruelty, to notice our myriad variations and to unite in celebrating them, rather than resign ourselves to a submission to entitled domination and the astonishing savagery of spite. State-perpetrated and internationally enabled mass murder is currently actively terrorizing more than one part of our world, currently condemned by the very bodies specifically set up by humans to monitor things on Earth unacceptable to human society. These are facts. They need to be faced. So for the sake of clarity, let's name it. The inhumane is being perpetrated on our watch. I'm here to name it, without hesitation or doubt in my mind, and to lend my unwavering solidarity to all those who recognize the unacceptable complacency of our greed-addicted governments who make nice with planet wreckers and war criminals wherever they come from. I'm also here to name my absolute personal faith in culture in resistance. An enlightened cinema can inspire a civilized world, can lend us the pause, the breath, the reflection that might embolden us to take the best part of ourselves, that capacity for enchantment and openness, for wit and intrigue, that admiration for human flexibility and resource, our capacity to survive things, for thrill and sensation that we find in the witness that cinema represents, and build on it out in the open and under the sky, IRL. So, when the chips are down, as might be interpreted at this point in history with particular sharpness, and at any age and stage of our lives, not only the 25-year-olds, and with the settled acknowledgement that being for something does not ever imply being anti anyone. That being for humane solidarity means for humane solidarity with all humans so invested in common decency and fair representation. In the agreement that freedom in the naming of repressive, inhumane, and criminal movements, wherever and whenever, is among our essential human rights and deserves our honor and our loyalty. On the path to believing against all odds in the practical feasibility of fairness on Earth, to building brave faith in and voting for reliable human accord, and in an inviolable respect among us all, without exception, for difference and dignity. Maybe, humans, friends. Trust in cinema. Support big screens wherever we find them. Watch everything there. Hold the streaming services to their proud claim to be big cinema supportive, and encourage them to spend a large chunk of their squillions on building, renovating, and enlivening cinema theatres in every territory they reach. Encourage the curious and fearless distributors and exhibitors among us by buying ticket after ticket and making it work for them to keep us nourished and inspired with a broad and dynamic cinema ad infinitum. Treasure the 14 decades of archive film available to us, invaluable traces of our human society and spirit, without which our human future, not to say the future of cinema, would be immeasurably the poorer. Embolden a vibrant and responsive internationalist cinema culture for the young, and find a film festival. Maybe better still, found one, right? In villages and the center of big cities, in refugee camps, in schools and care homes, on wheels up hills and inflatable rafts in the ocean. Warum denn nicht? The more the merrier, and size is not everything. It's all to play for. Ich bin ganz, ganz stolz, hier zu sein, in dieses Ort mit euch. Hier war für mich ein Zuhause. Ja. Thank you, dear Berlinale, for laying out my life's magic box of faith, for all the friends I've found here, for 40 years of parties and revelations, and for my beautiful shiny bear. Long live cinema and all its never-ending promise, a light in the dark that never goes out. Let's keep looking up. With all my love, Tilda.